Chapter 1, The Cursed Child. It had been many years since the defeat of Lord Voldemort and peace had finally returned to the Wizarding world. Harry Potter and Ginny Weasley were now married with 3 children, James, Albus, and Lily. Harry was a famous Auror, while Ginny was a successful Quidditch player. They lived a happy life in the Wizarding world. However, the peace was about to be disturbed. Albus was now in his 4th year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and had started to exhibit strange powers. He could control the elements and had the power to curse people with a mere touch. The other students were afraid of him and he was shunned by most of the teachers, who were scared of the power he possessed. Albus was frustrated with his life at Hogwarts and had started to have nightmares about the Dark Lord's return. He felt like he was the cursed child, who would bring the end of the Wizarding world. He had confided in his father, who tried to reassure him, but the nightmares continued. One day, Albus was studying in the Forbidden Forest when he stumbled upon a dark wizard who was trying to resurrect Lord Voldemort. The wizard had discovered Albus' powers and thought that he could use him to bring the Dark Lord back to life. Albus managed to escape but was deeply shaken by the encounter. He went to his father and told him everything. Harry immediately contacted the Ministry of Magic, but they were not able to find any evidence of the Dark Wizard's presence. The Ministry was not willing to take any action and Harry and Albus were left to their own devices. Determined to protect the Wizarding world from the Dark Lord's return, Harry and Albus decided to take matters into their own hands. They set out on a dangerous journey to find the Dark Wizard and put an end to his evil plans once and for all. Little did they know what lay ahead of them, and the challenges they would have to face in order to save the Wizarding world. Chapter 2, The Search begins. Harry and Albus had set out on their journey to find the Dark Wizard. They traveled through various Wizarding communities, asking for any information about the wizard's whereabouts. They encountered many obstacles along the way, from dark creatures to misleading leads. Despite the challenges, Harry and Albus were determined to find the wizard. They finally received a tip from a group of goblins who had heard rumors about a strange man practicing dark magic in a hidden cavern in the mountains. Harry and Albus quickly set out to find the cavern. As they approached the entrance, they could feel the strong presence of dark magic. They cautiously entered the cavern and found the wizard, who was surrounded by dark creatures and muttering incantations. Harry and Albus realized that they were too late. The Dark Wizard had already started the ritual to resurrect Lord Voldemort. The wizard turned to face them and sneered. "You will never stop me," he said. "The Dark Lord will be back, and this time he will rule the Wizarding world with an iron fist." Harry and Albus stood their ground, ready to fight. But the wizard was powerful, and his dark magic was too much for them to handle. They were quickly overpowered and captured. The wizard cackled as he bound them with dark spells. "You will serve me, and I will use your powers to complete the ritual." Harry and Albus were in dire straits, but they refused to give up. They knew that they had to find a way to escape and stop the wizard before it was too late. Chapter 3, The Escape. Harry and Albus were imprisoned in the cavern, with dark creatures guarding their cells. They were determined to find a way to escape, but their efforts were in vain. The wizard's dark magic was too strong, and the cells were impossible to break. One day, Harry noticed a strange mark on the wall of his cell. He recognized it as a spell for escape, but it required a powerful wizard to cast it. He told Albus about the spell, and they came up with a plan. In the middle of the night, Harry used his magic to create a distraction, while Albus cast the spell. The cells broke open, and they were finally free. They quickly made their way out of the cavern, using their magic to fight off the dark creatures that stood in their way. When they finally reached the entrance, they were confronted by the wizard. The wizard was angry and powerful, but Harry and Albus were determined to stop him. They stood their ground and fought with all their might. The wizard was strong, but Harry and Albus were working together, their magic amplifying each other's powers. In the end, Harry and Albus were victorious. They defeated the wizard, destroying his dark magic and preventing Lord Voldemort from being resurrected. They returned to Hogwarts, where they were hailed as heroes. They had saved the wizarding world from the brink of darkness, and their names would be remembered for generations to come. Chapter 4: A New Threat. Harry and Albus had saved the wizarding world, but they were not out of danger yet. A new threat was emerging, one that was even more dangerous than Lord Voldemort. The wizarding world was being attacked by dark creatures, and it was up to Harry and Albus to stop them. They were joined by their friends Ron and Hermione, who had also been trained in magic. The group traveled across the wizarding world, fighting off the dark creatures and gathering information about their source. They discovered that the creatures were being controlled by a mysterious sorceress, who was determined to conquer the wizarding world. Harry, Albus, Ron, and Hermione were determined to stop her, but they were up against an enemy unlike any they had faced before. The sorceress was powerful, and she had an army of dark creatures at her disposal. The group trained harder than ever before, perfecting their magic and preparing for the final battle. When the day finally came, they faced the sorceress and her army. The battle was intense, but Harry and his friends were determined to win. They used their magic to defeat the sorceress and her army, saving the wizarding world once again. But they knew that this was just the beginning. The sorceress was not the last threat they would face, and they were ready to face any challenges that lay ahead. Together, they would protect the wizarding world and keep the peace. Chapter 5: A New Era. After the defeat of the sorceress, the wizarding world entered a new era. Harry and his friends were hailed as heroes, and their bravery was celebrated throughout the land. The wizarding world was a safer place, and people could go about their lives without fear. Harry, Albus, Ron, and Hermione were able to return to their normal lives, but they never forgot the lessons they had learned and the battles they had fought. Years passed, and Harry and Albus passed on their knowledge and skills to the next generation of wizards. They trained young witches and wizards, who would go on to protect the wizarding world for years to come. Harry, Albus, Ron, and Hermione remained close friends, and they continued to work together to protect the wizarding world. They never forgot their mission, and they were always ready to face any challenge that lay ahead. As they looked back on their adventures, they were proud of all they had accomplished. They had fought against great odds, and they had triumphed. They were heroes, and they would always be remembered as such. And so, the wizarding world entered a new era, one of peace, prosperity, and hope. The legacy of Harry, Albus, Ron, and Hermione would live on, inspiring future generations of wizards to fight for what was right, and to protect the wizarding world from any threat that may arise. If you liked this video, please give it a like and share. Subscribe the channel for more amazing stories.